Welcome back, and of course, your comments are welcome via our social media handles because we are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on myjoyonline.com. My name is Elton Brobe. Now, today we are starting off on a matter that has been a 21 for several months now. Now, drivers and residents along the Pokuase-Nsawam stretch of the Accra-Kumasi interchange road have served notice warning if immediate action is not taken to fix the unmotorable roads, they would protest. Now, last week, the expiration of the ultimatum is in the next 2 days. The drivers say they've had enough of the dusty detours, the broken suspension, and the endless wait for a road that has been under construction for years. The GPRTU and the GLTCC wants government to drag the contractor back to site or face thereof. My colleague Michael Ashaiman and Anthony Manu were on the stretch, and they came through with this report.
With each passing day, commuters and drivers are paying the price for government's inaction. Welcome to the Pokuase-Nsawam stretch, where driving is a nightmare for drivers and commuters, and where every bump feels like a gamble with your vehicle's safety. This stretch has been under construction for years, yet today, the contractor is nowhere in sight. The result? An obstacle course of potholes, forcing drivers to crawl bumper to bumper, twisting and turning just to stay on 4 wheels. On our visit, more than 20 vehicles were seen broken down in the middle of the road. Here lies another broken down car, and another, and another. Vehicles, both big, long, medium, or whatever size it is, at some point in their journey to Kumasi, have to at least run through this muddy water. A very difficult situation for many of them because they don't know what exactly under the surface of that water looks like. You may as well just call it the muddy pool of death, because I've counted not one, not two, but more than 3 vehicles in this section alone that are broken down. They haven't moved an inch in hours. The difficulty is that no help can come to you at this particular point in the middle of a muddy pool. Darko Foster was heading to the eastern region when his car skidded dangerously close to tipping over.
I
didn't know where to pass. I lost traction. The next thing I realized, the vehicle was skidding, and there were people in the car, and no one is willing to help.
Okay, now I'm afraid to win country. From 2.5 p.m.
His passenger, Mary Owusu, had bought goods in Accra to sell back home. Now, they sit drenched and ruined.
The car has been stuck here since 12. There is mud in my goods and everything I bought to sell is destroyed. I lost my money today.
While we were here, an STC bus got stuck. It was the second one that day in the same area. The driver, John Ate, is now visibly frustrated.
A state bus, a whole state bus. Look at the situation in which it is.
This is a state bus. Now see where we are. Government must fix the road. The road is very bad.
But how bad is the road?
Road in there very bad. Very bad. Bad. Beyond bad. Beyond bad.
Passengers were forced to get out and wade through mud. For another passenger, time is money. He's now late to his appointment and losing both. Manaf, yes. This vehicle is sport. Are you from this vehicle, one of the passengers in there?
No, I'm not, but from the other one, a similar STC that got stuck along.
Another STC broken down, yes. Same day, same time?
Yes.
From Burkina Faso to Tema, one long haul brought to a halt here.
The road no good, I swear.
Brima Tofik's cargo now sits in jeopardy after a key support beam broke in the struggle.
If you come out from Amle, Cambodia, the road no good, so all the goods will be the load, and so about from Obakura, Oko, Odu Amele, plenty cars fall down for that place because of the road. The road no good. The day we go do 5 days to reach the Tema, but sometimes we do 1 month before we reach Tema.
Taxi driver Alex Apia-Danko says business is slow. Whatever he earns goes straight into repairs as well.
Some passengers in
The passengers are not boarding our taxis. Look at the road. We beg, please come and fix it.
Yes, Rabano. On show mine. Onya bibia. Odo nye kura onsesin mine.
Commercial buses are cashing in. A journey from Pokuase to Ashaiman, once 5 cedis, now cost 10. Janet Morte says it is broad day thievery.
If you don't have 10 cedis, you can't move from here to media.
Some drivers even stop mid-route, forcing passengers to pay again before continuing.
Kwabenya, I am heading to Sapeman, and I had to pay another fare to continue.
Ride-hailing drivers have abandoned the route altogether. Kweku Frimpong is unhappy.
And because of the bad routes, sometimes when people request for Bolt and Uber and all those kind of commercial, they don't want to come to this part because of the condition of the route. And it really affects, and because of this issue, this public transport, the Trotro people, they've increased the fare of the prices exponentially.
Frustrated, the GPRTU and GRTCC have announced plans to demonstrate over the bad road. Residents and commuters have endorsed it.
Of course, why won't I join? Because it's really now, kids are not able to use this road anymore. And then it's seriously, I'm even lost of words. I don't even know the right words to use because
we are on our knees. They should fix it for us.
We will demonstrate. We must park the cars on the road and block it. They should try and fix it for us.
The Ashaiman Road is a critical stretch for trade and commerce, but the current state is crippling the economy and affecting lives. The government must take immediate action to address the situation and complete the road project. Until then, every journey here will remain a gamble. For JoyNews, Michael Ashali and Anthony Menu.
My colleague Michael Ashali and Anthony are back on that particular stretch. I'll take you live to the place because we are learning that some work is being undertaken to make the road more trouble. But if you're a regular user of the road, perhaps you can tell me the experience you go through every day via social media handles on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. And we'll share it here and also try and get response from the contractor working on this particular stretch. Well, our lead data and research analyst here at JoyNews, Isaac Kofi Ajay, has also been giving us some perspective about the state of this particular road.
% is the completion rate of the Nsawam of Pankor Road. So we are left with about, let's say, 32% more to complete this road. And the reason why this road is so crucial and critical is that if you look at the description of the road when the contract was actually awarded, this particular road is supposed to be about 33.4 kilometers. In there, you have 10 lanes, MFA. 6 of the 10 lanes are supposed to be for express, and then 4 for, services and other connections. And you have 4 interchanges on that particular road. And the reason why it's become a big headache, and you can see the magnitude of the distress people are going through, is because you need $346.5 million US. That's about roughly 34 billion Ghana cedis to actually complete, this road project. That is the amount of money you need to complete the Nsawam Pokuase-Nsawam road. Comparing the budgetary allocation to the roads ministry from 2022 to 2025 is that if you do a simple mathematics, what you see is that expenditure or the budgetary allocation to that ministry is expected to drop by some 30% this year. Why is that important? Because if you break it down, you will see that a big component of that budgetary allocation is supposed to go into management and administration. And it's about 1.4 billion, and just about, let's say, 1.2 billion is supposed to go into proper capex. And I mentioned just one road, which is costing about 34 billion Ghana cedis. And the whole, country is expected to rely on just close about, let's say, 2.5 billion Ghana cedis for road construction and rehabilitation. It simply tells you that this is woefully inadequate. Why? Because we've just seen one road that is expected to cost some 347 million, US dollars to actually complete this.
Well, the chairman of the Parliament's Committee on Roads, an MP for WASSCE, Isaac Mensah, has also commented on the contractor's return to site. Now, he spoke on the AM, so take a listen.
The road is being done by one of the best contractors, Maripoma. Maripoma is, reputed to be one of the best in the sub-region. And so if he's on such projects, you have no doubt that he'll perform. And so the whole issue was about the honoring of IPCs. And when contractors...
So IPCs are the interim, performance certificates?
Yes,
okay.
So it's about money.
Okay.
And my understanding is that the ministry has had some arrangement and engagement with him to go back to site. We inherited this project. And there were issues relating to some payments. And given the situation, the government at the time wasn't able to honor all of them. And so we inherited it, and we just have to accept it and move on. And because of the relationship that the ministry has had with the contractor, some minor jobs were being carried on. I remember about 3 months ago, the committee had a visit to the project, and we saw some work going on. But again, the areas that needs to be worked on is where now it's been giving much problems. During this time, during the rainy seasons, you realize that roads get worse, especially in areas that had not been attended to. And so it is also not too smart thing to do when especially the road is still on traffic, to work on them.
But the road was left even before the season.
Yes, it was being attended to, but gradually.
Really?
It's been worse, yes. When...
What was happening on the road? Because people say the contractor packed out. There was no work happening on the road.
There were some minor interventions on the stretch. But the critical situation is what we see it now. But the goodness of it is that the contractor is back to site and he's ready to make things done.
When was that? Because
I think for the past 3 days. The minister has come out, and if you check on the Ghana web, there's been some publication of a sort. That
the minister is back on
I'm
site?
talking about the minister talked about the fact that some financial arrangement has been made to fix the contractor, and so the contractor is back on site. I was just in Adom TV this morning, and they've confirmed that, yes, the contractor is on site.
All right, so these are foundations. Now, what is the latest as we speak this afternoon? Let me cross over now to the stretch where my colleague Michael Ashaiman is currently standing by for the very latest. And Michael, so around 10 a.m., we got information that the contractor is back on site to try and make the road more travel. You've been on the scene for some time now. What can you tell us?
In your visual, in your shot right now, it's one of those places that we covered when we got here at the time. And it was a difficult terrain or place for drivers, especially for the long trailers. There was a huge ditch around that place. But at least for today, the story is different. Drivers are applying that place as though it's a tarred road. The reason is because the contractors, Maripoma Enterprise Limited, is currently on site on this particular stretch. And where we are, it's just a few heading towards Satellite, where it's the biggest of the challenges. So, contractor, we can confirm is currently, you can see just around this place alone, we have about 4 heavy-duty machines that are currently on site trying to work. The supervisor there, foreign national, also trying to supervise. Days ago when we came here, drivers are driving, well, as smoothly as they can get it, far better, they will say, than what they actually got the last time here. So, contractor at the moment is on site. But some drivers who have been passing and making some comments tell us that this is the least of the places they really wanted a contractor to work on. The biggest problem they were really hoping that you work on is the part about the satellite, where there's a muddy pool sitting just in the middle of the road, making it very difficult for drivers, commuters to access just anywhere at all. So, Elton, I can confirm to you, just as we have heard, Maripoma Enterprise Limited is back on site. What we know, again, my colleague Anthony Menu will join me pretty shortly, is that we know that as of 2024, December 2024, the contractor said he had done about 70% of the work, but only 20% of the money had been released to him at the moment. Anthony Menu, so, I mean, as of 2024, what were the figures that we're dealing with?
So, as of 2024, we are looking at some 70.34 million US dollars, which actually represent 20.3% of the entire 346.47 million US dollars that this project was actually estimated for.
And that is in the money terms, that is 20% of the money had been released at the end of 2024.
Exactly. Even though 70% of the work has actually been done, the contractor, as we can confirm from the Ghana Highways 2024 annual report, actually says that only 20.99% of the money have actually been
Okay, great. So we know that this year, Roads Minister Govin Sagboja mentioned that some 400 million cedis have been released to them. That will translate around 30 million. That brings a total about 100 million, right?
Yes, you are right. Earlier this year, we had the Minister for Roads and Highways, Gavin Abuja, saying that over 400 million Ghana cedis has actually been given to the contractor. That translates to 33.3 million US dollars, which when you use the exchange rate as at then. Now we will be estimating that the total figure will be at 104 million US dollars, which actually represents about 29% of the money. So currently, if we take into consideration what the minister said, only 29.7% has actually been received, even though 70% of the work has been done.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes. So, in terms of numbers, that's exactly what we are dealing with. Is the expectation that the contractor, once it's back, will complete it. This is just coming days after GPRTU and GRTCC, two of Ghana's biggest transport unions or driver unions, who issued government a 1-week ultimatum to at least make parts of the road very motorable. And currently, that is exactly what ME or Maripoma Enterprise Limited, the contractors responsible for the Pokuase-Nsawam stretch, is currently doing. It's a rubble here. I can feel the vibrations right here on my feet. I will definitely be on the road for the rest of the day, looking up to what exactly the contractor teams as priority areas to fix the road in the interim.
Right. So, Papani, last Friday when you got on the scene, you reported from a spot which had water had collected on a particular spot. Is this the same place you are reporting from this very moment?
That is not the exact place we are reporting from, actually, but this is the first major place that you are seeing some rehabilitation work being done by MEL. We've traveled all the way from Pokuase to this particular point, and this is the only point where we can say that the contractor is actively working. We have seen some of their vehicles move in and out of some of the places, but this is the first place. The place you're asking about is Satellite, just about a kilometer stretch from here. I will definitely be going there in just about 5 minutes. We will be leaving here. But this was one of the critical areas that GPRTU was complaining about, that they needed the contractor to work urgently on it. And through to their threats, Maripoma is currently on site, trying to meet them halfway.
Apani, we'll leave it here, and then we'll touch base with you when you get to that particular spot, as we try to understand the situation and whether this ongoing works to make the road more trouble is extending to that spot at war. But remember that the threat to go on strike, at least as we speak now, still stands. Now, let me go on Zoom and bring you Samuel Abuan. He's a member of the National Communication Team of the Ghana Road, Private Road Transport Union, and he is joining me. Also on the line is Emmanuel Ohene-Yabua, General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. And I'm privileged to have you guys on. So, Mr. Ohene, good afternoon. So you heard from our correspondent, Michael Ashaiman, who is on site. I mean, giving credence to the fact that some work has started or has resumed on the stretch that you complain about. Does that soften your stance to go on strike in 2 days?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. My brother can hear me. I just drove on that stretch just about 6 minutes, and I saw one excavator, a roller, one of the stretch, But I say that quite appreciate the good efforts to tackle the problem. I think now that we see now is not enough to remedy the situation as it stands now. Because if you remember, if the reporter was held in the morning, and once was the different compounds. So we hope to add to deal with the wider area that has problems. The problem is really that issue that they need to add more equipment to be able to resolve. That one excavator and grader and that would not solve the problem, honestly.
All right, but at least something is being done to address the concerns that you have.
Well, that is true. That is why an effort has been made. But continuing at this pace, I don't think we're going to see a resolution around it within the 1 week time frame.
Let me also bring in the GPRTU, the GPRTU person on this, Mr. Samuel Asamoah. Mr. Samuel, so some work is being done. Again, the same question. Will that get you to back off on this stretch to go on strike in 2 days?
Correct. The name is Samuel Amoah.
Okay.
You just Amoah. Yeah. So, all right. So, let me probably say good afternoon to you and then your listeners and viewers. Yes. As we earlier said, what we had wanted to do is to embark on a sit-down strike, and the main reason why we are embarking on the sit-down strike is the Pokuase-Nsawam road. That is, giving us a whole lot of headache, and we are seeing that government is not doing anything about it. Yes, we decided that hopefully by 21st, that is coming Thursday, all vehicles nationwide are going to pass. We are not going to work, so we see the contractors working. Yes, we've had an information that they've gone back to the site and work has been commenced. Actually, what we want to say is that they will continue on doing it. We don't want the situation whereby they will say, because of the little pressure we gave them, that is why maybe they just gone to the site to commence work. Then some few days they just leave the site again. So we just want to monitor from today, tomorrow. We also want to monitor, how the work will also go, where they have started and where they have gone to. Then by the close of tomorrow, we will decide whether we have to call off the strike action or we continue with that.
So for now, you are simply watching them?
Yeah, for now we are watching them because, sometimes they will just do something like we are working. But before we realize, before earlier, that was what happened. They were there working. We didn't know the reason why, for some time, all the contractors left the place, all their machines were also parked. We don't know the reason why it happened like that. So it will happen the same time again. So that is why we are saying we are watching them. We are watching them closely to see if work will be going on. Then all that we need is for the road to be motorable. That is all. Right.
Mr. Ohene, so again, I've just been perusing reports around this particular road project. And today wouldn't be the first time government officials or the government is asking the contractor to go back on site and make the road more travel. As far back as 2022, the then Minister for Roads then did the same thing. Mr. Foriata, did the same thing when he went on the stretch and directed the contractor to get back and make the road more travel. I'm talking about Mr. Mwakwanta. So clearly, obviously, same script but different cast. What assurance do you have that this time it will be sustained such that we'll get our hands off this once and for all? Hello, Mr. Hene. Right.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Hene, you can hear me.
Okay, is it for me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier on, our interest today and now is that we need the road to be fixed. As to direction that they give and being sustainable or not depends on the government's negotiation with the contractors. We are just road users and we don't have much influence. We don't have the wherewithal to say that, we should continue working or not. But at least the government should be able to negotiate in a very stronger terms that we get this thing off our necks. Because this is a major road that links the southern to the northern parts of Ghana and the Sahelian region. So you can't continue like this. That's my worry. Granted, even a sick person on this road, traveling on ambulance or something, and it gets to this stage. Brother, the results will be fatal. Sometimes when we speak like this, we don't look at our commercial interests only. We look at the general economic movement of the country. If you look at some of the videos you are showing, look at the destruction alone. Once the truck goes down, before you can bring it back operational life, it means you have to spend so much money in it again, and we have to avoid that. So I'm saying again that the government should negotiate in a very strong terms. Yes, that's why the state is the biggest vendor. Once you contract somebody to work for you, I mean the state has a guarantee, so definitely the money will be paid. To have a negotiation, a way to negotiate to keep the job going. Okay. Because the way it stands now, if you come and explain to me that we have paid so much percent, we have paid so much, that's why the road is not going, the citizen doesn't know whatever negotiating that the government has done. All that we need is that we have a road that we can move on. At least if it's not 100%, fixed, let's get it to a level that we can move on smoothly without further challenges.
All right.
That's what it's telling on our expenditure, honestly.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Let me wrap up this conversation with you, Mr. Samuel Amwa. So, Mr. Amwa, some of the committers also complaining that drivers have taken advantage of the state of the road. They are demanding more. Sometimes they get them to the middle of the destination and they say that unless you pay more, we will not continue with the journey. You are virtually punishing commuters for what is expected to be fixed by government.
Yes, you see, that is some of the information we had, the complaints we had from some of the commuters. That is why we decided to take this stand. Even those that are not even doing it, I'm talking about some of our union members, even threatening that this is the transport fair. That prompted us to take this stand. You see, we are doing this because of what is happening on the road, and we are not happy for this road to be bad to this extent, and it's the passengers that are going to suffer the consequences. You see, we are very sorry for all these things that are happening. All that we are saying is that the government should make the road motorable so that we can also be able to monitor our drivers for them to do the right thing. Because GPRQ, we are law-abiding citizens. We don't just do our things like that. We increase fares when it is necessary for us to increase fares. We don't just wake up and charge them anyhow. And we also don't want the drivers to also be taking advantage of what is happening there and taking money from passengers. They would like what we are doing now. So we believe that since the contractor is there and they have started working, the road will be motorable. We also make sure that drivers apply that road to charge the appropriate fare so that everybody will also enjoy whatever.
And you say that you meet tomorrow to review the position you've taken.
That is correct. That is correct, because we gave 1 week ultimatum. That will elapse, hopefully on Wednesday. Like we were supposed to, when it happens, like nothing happened, then it means on Thursday we are marching on a sit-down strike. So we are monitoring. By the close of tomorrow, so Wednesday morning, we'll see how things are going, then the decision will be taken. All
right, Samuel Amwa is a member of the communication team of the GPRT. Thank you so much. Also, we heard Emmanuel Rahene with the Transport Coordinating Council. And of course, we're keeping an eye on this particular matter. We try to get government response. They are unavailable to speak to this matter as of now. But if you're a user of the road, tell me your experience via social media handle, X Spaces on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. Now, former Defense Minister Nitiwul has sounded the alarm that Ghana is dangerously underprepared for any terrorism. He warned that unlike neighbors such as Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, and Ivory Coast that are pouring resources into their militaries, Ghana has grown nonchalant simply because it has not yet been attacked. Now, Nitiwul admitted the army saw some investment under his watch, but stressed that the Air Force and Navy remain under-equipped due to politicized procurement. And he cautioned that unless Ghana urgently retool its Air Force and Navy, the nation will be left dangerously exposed. He spoke on the probe.
We heavily invested in the army. We bought a lot of APCs, a lot of armor personnel carriers. We bought a lot of weapons. We bought a lot of things that they need, multiple rocket launchers. We bought a lot of things that the army needs. But that is not to say that that is all they need. Remember that you are in a region that is faced with terrorism, that is faced with difficult economic challenges, and also faced with serious security challenges. So you need very serious military equipment. Unfortunately, because we have not had a terrorist attack, we don't place too much premium on preparing our military, unlike our neighbors who are being bombarded by difficulties. Nigeria, Benin, Ivory Coast, Togo, Burkina Faso, all of them, Niger, Mali, the entire West Africa, especially the big countries, everybody is suffering from terrorism. And so you go to Burkina, relatively close to 40% of their budget is being used to make sure that they prepare their military. Togo is doing same, Ivory Coast is doing same, Benin is doing same, Nigeria is doing same. But of course, in Ghana, it is not like that. So you will get the drift in which I'm thinking. I will not conclude, but the people of Ghana should know that we are under-preparing as compared to our neighbors.
All right.
Two, when it comes to the equipment stage, as I said, we did a lot for especially the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and part of the Air Force. But it's not enough because we couldn't have, with the difficult economic circumstances, we couldn't have bought everything that they are looking for. I started listing all the things that we bought, from weapons to ammunition to APC personnel to soft-tin vehicles to building houses to doing roads to doing accommodation, all this sort of stuff that we did massively. In fact, the investment that we did, I can say relatively without boasting that no government in the Fourth Republic has done that. But I can say that it is a scratch on the surface. The difficulty and my biggest regret, which I think we should focus, is on the Air Force and the Navy. And the Air Force is very evident for all of us to see that our Air Force is underprepared. From 2019, when we thought that the nation should come together, and the nation actually did, using Parliament. Unfortunately, the politicization of our equipment purchases has not helped us.
Well, Dominic Nitiwul has also been talking about whether we have outdated helicopters in the system. And he says these are pure propaganda issues being pursued by some other people. Listen.
You see the place called Dollar Power is full of riches. But you have to cross the Black Volta to be able to get to Dollar Power. It's become a big security den. And I can tell you that what I did was virtually to get to the Minister for Lands to ensure that that whole enclave is handed over to the Defense Industry Holding Company to partner with whoever they want to partner. And I've done the partnering. They know, the government knows, that if they decide to tap the resources in that area, the armed forces will get no less than $300 million every year to be able to buy whatever they want to buy. It's for the government to exploit that. And I did it. I set it up. I got the armed forces. I got everything they needed to do. They just needed to follow what I did. And I'm saying to the president that he should pay attention to what I did there and the steps I took to ensure that those resources are handed over to the defense industry holding company. And when they tap those resources, the armed forces will have a lot of money to be able to retool the armed forces.
Right, this is a pause here on JoyNews. Let's take a short break and return with other stories. Well, let's do other stories. And with over 461,000 candidates nationwide expected to sit for this year's West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination, the West African Examination Council says it is fully prepared to conduct this year's WASSCE despite conflict in areas like Boko and Contractor. According to WAEC Public Affairs Head John Kapi, provisions have been made to ensure candidates in conflict zones can write their papers safely, with sensitization programs rolled out to prepare candidates ahead of the exam. We'll hear from him shortly, but first listen to the education think tank IFES pressing government to act fast on reforms. And this is Dr. Peter Ante, and he's Executive Director.
It exposes our education authorities of their understanding of the nature of the current crop of students and generation that they are dealing with. Move from Bolgatanga and then now to Al Farouk. Interestingly, in Al Farouk, we have not seen them destroying properties. We don't know how this is going to escalate because this is the beginning. But in Bolgatanga, it was brutal, very, very destructive. They burnt their libraries and other things. It tells you that the nature of students we're dealing with demands a more sophisticated kind of engagement from our school authorities. And I think that is an angle that we are not doing well. I believe that the education authorities need to now retrain our school authorities, administration officials on how to engage the Gen Zs in this, at this particular point in time. Their understanding of issues are different. Their appreciation of circumstances is different. And you do not use the old style of handling students to handle them. They would definitely rebel against whatever decision that you are bringing on board.
Well, WAEC says they are poised to conduct an incident-free examination. John Kapi speaks for the examination body.
Well, we have so far been able to print the question papers. We've sent also, normally for the WASSCE, the stationery goes along with the question papers. So whoever is keeping custody of the questions also keeps custody of the stationery, except for the objective answer cards, which we would present to the schools ahead of time so that the supervisors can prepare them for the exam. So we've printed, normally we print in batches based on the timetable. So for the first 3 weeks, all the questions are ready. They have been transported as we speak. Every single person has arrived at their destination ready for the examination this morning. So I would say that we've had quite a smooth process in the preparation towards the examination in terms of printing, packaging, and then dispatching our staff to the field for the exercise. So when the exams were to be, first of all, during the BEC, what we did, especially at the time, it was just Boko. So we did not have an examination depot in Boko. What we did was to have a depot at Zebila. So from Zebila, the examination officials, that is the district exam officials, would drive under police escort to Zebila, pick up the questions, go back, have the candidates write, and then return the scripts to our depot keeper at Zebila. That's what we did, and that's the same thing we wanted to replicate for the WASSCE. And then the Nalego issue occurred, and then there were also some pockets of disturbances in some schools within the Upper East in particular. So what we did was to be in touch with the local authorities, of course, with the collaboration of the Ghana Education Service. And then they told us that they had made adequate provision for security. They will be able to secure the entire area where the examinations will be written. We have about 3 centers within the Boko enclave itself. So what they've tried to do is that they are no longer having any day students. Everybody now has been sent to the boarding house.
Okay.
So you don't have to commute from home to school to write the examination. And then also we have our examination depot at Zebula, as I mentioned earlier. So the examination officials would go, pick up the questions, go and conduct the examination, of course, with the support of the security personnel who are in that area. And when exams are over, they return the scripts to Zebula. Now, we've also had, there was a problem in Zwarungu, also in the Upper East region. And so some of the candidates who hail from Boko have chosen to go back to Boko and write the exams. They don't want to write in Zwarungu because they feel safer in Boko than in Zwarungu. So provision has been for them also to go back. They have also been provided accommodation on campus, so they can stay in school and write the examinations without any difficulties. In Nalerugu, we also have been in touch with the officials over there. They indicate the place is safe. They have made enough provision for security. Again, they are ensuring that no candidate is loitering in the course of the examination. And so they believe that the candidates will be able to write over there. The same thing applies to Nkwanta. So in all these areas, we've been in touch with them, and we are in constant touch with our personnel in the regions so that they give us feedback as to, what the security situation is.
Right, so that's why for you, and of course, some aspect of the examinations already started, and everything will not kick in beginning tomorrow, and we'll be around the country to bring you the latest on this matter. Now, fierce legal battle looms between the Esikado Ketan Member of Parliament, Dr. Grace Ayensu-Dankwa, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, as the two engage in public accusations over whether or not the MP's professorship is legitimate. Now, lawyer for the MP, David Ametefe, has, in a letter, taken on GTEC, accusing them of bias and political influence. The lawyer's letter is in response to the Commission's threat to initiate a court action against the MP if she does not stop carrying herself as a professor of surgery. According to GTEC, there is no evidence whatsoever justifying that Dr. Ayensu has been appointed a professor of surgery by Utah in the United States of America, contrary to her claim. There's more in the following report.
Few days intensified its clampdown on the unjustified use of academic titles, especially among businessmen, religious leaders, politicians, and other influential persons in society. The Commission has in the last few days called out persons, including Deputy Director of Election and IT for the NDC, Rashid Tanko Computer, founder and presidential candidate of the All People Congress, Hassan Ayariga, and several others out, with the latest being the MP, Esikado Ketan, Dr. Grace Ayensu-Dankwa. The controversy over her professorship title heightened following ranking member on the appointment committee, Alexander Penyu-Markin's probe into her qualification during her vetting as Deputy Health Minister.
I am a professor of surgery at the University of Utah. I am a professor of global surgery per the American College of Surgeons and the American Board of Surgery. I have worked in teaching for the last 15 years. Thank you.
So the American College of Surgery, in its role, has your name there as Professor Ayensu-Dankwa, correct?
American College of Surgeons has my name as a Professor Ayensu-Dankwa. I am a board-certified surgeon, doubly boarded from the United States of America. Thank you.
GTEC, following the incident on August 4, wrote to the MP demanding all academic document conferring the title on her. Her lawyers, in an August 8 response, indicated that her appointment as an assistant professor of surgery by the Vice Chair for Academic Affairs at the Department of Surgery at the University of Utah justifies her qualification, but GTEC insists she was appointed an adjunct assistant professor and not an assistant professor, a position GTEC says does not even qualify her as a senior lecturer in Ghana. GTEC warns it will drag the MP to court if she does not stop carrying herself in public as a professor.
Lawyers for the Member of Parliament for Esikado Ketan and Deputy Health Minister are not happy with the position and approach adopted by GTEC. And they've got a statement to make the point. First, they talk about the tone of the letter. They say that it's abrasive, combative, and in part disparaging, falling short of the courtesy and neutrality expected of a statutory body. They also make the point there's no clear criteria, published guidelines, or statutory framework were cited in assessing Dr. Dankwe's credential, raising concern of subjectivity. And so, I mean, the lawyer's the letter or response to GTEC is what you have on your screen. All right. Let's turn our attention now. Over 100 traders in Ashaiman have staged a peaceful demonstration to protest what they describe as unlawful eviction by the municipal assembly.
The aggrieved traders, clad in red armed bands, wielded placards, some of which read, "We own this land, why take it from us? And we have documents, respect our rights." They insist they possess all the necessary legal documents permitting them to operate on the land near their Ashaiman traffic light. They say the land dispute is already before the court, awaiting a ruling. According to the traders, a private developer is allegedly influencing the assembly to forcibly take over the land despite the pending legal process. They have vowed to resist any attempt to remove them until the court delivers its verdict.
Only 1 month, this person, you go to TDC, go say one open fight. TDC people tell them, say, the land long to those people sit down for here. Please association. The land long for we. This man come back. The time we go, my brother to also did there. They say no, and them know the inside. This man come back. Make wayo, make yans a chrono.
Papa also made 10 feet. So made 10 feet. I didn't need problem. Bia, I made 10 feet from road bia. So you say it's 30 12 bia. You want me touchy because I know document to assassinate so.
Some protesters expressed anger, calling the action an injustice being meted out to them. Leader of the traders, Jeffrey Ellie, condemned the assembly's move, accusing officials of disregarding due process. Meanwhile, heavy security was deployed at the scene to maintain order and prevent the protests from escalating into violence.
Well, the Nadoli Kalio District Director of Health Service, Fobi Baganjitimi, has expressed concern over the rising cases of maternal and prenatal deaths in the district. The district recorded 15 prenatal deaths in 2023, which increased to 19 in 2024. However, 5 cases have already been recorded in the first half of this year alone. Maternal deaths, on the other hand, declined to 2 in 2024, but 3 deaths have already been recorded in the last 6 months. Rafik Salam has more in this report.
Preterm birth remains one of the leading causes of neonatal deaths worldwide, and Ghana is no exception, with the worst statistics in rural communities where access to health facilities and personnel are either limited or non-existent. Nadolu Keleo District Director of Health Services, Phoebe Balagun-Yentimi, speaking at the project launch of preterm birth awareness creation and maternal health promotion at Loho, expressed worry over cases of maternal and prenatal deaths, which in the past had taken a nosedive, but now on the rise again. The Nadule-Keleo district in 2023 recorded 15 perinatal deaths, an increase to 19 in 2024, but has so far recorded 5 during the first half of the year. Maternal deaths, on the other hand, in the district in 2023 was 3, reduced to 2 in 2024, and had already recorded 3 deaths during the first half of this year.
Because of late, what we are seeing in terms of maternal mortality, perinatal deaths, that is deaths of children dying even in utero, and then 28 days after they have been delivered, it's quite worrying. We used to have pregnancy-induced hypertension, that is hypertension that is related to pregnancy, and it became a thing of the past. We are beginning to see it again. What is happening? We see most of our women too with anemia. They come in with HbAs below 5. And how can that baby survive in utero? It's also quite worrying. Are our pregnant women not eating properly? Are our men not supporting them enough? Some pregnant women will even come to the facilities without anybody accompanying them. And then they come there, you don't even know what to do. You want to ask questions, there's nobody around.
The project, which is the brainchild of the Solemn Faith Development Foundation, SFD, led by its founder, Aboyinga Selina, was held on the team, creating awareness for safer pregnancies and prevention of preterm births in rural communities. Project coordinator Aboyinga Flora recalled, as a midwifery student, her maiden encounter with a baby born preterm when she was on clinicals, which has motivated her for the project.
A young mother gave birth at just 30 weeks. The baby was so small that it could fit in her palms. The family was heartbroken. This young woman never attended antenatal since she got pregnant until she was in labor. And of course, there were complications and consequences. That day, I understood how urgent the issue was. And I asked myself, how could I come in? Preterm births are not just medical conditions. It is a community concern that affects mothers, fathers, siblings, and the future of the entire families.
A pediatrician at the One Municipal Hospital, Dr. Matilda Asayori, speaking on the challenges and solutions in addressing preterm births in rural communities, outlined some measures that could be taken to avoid preterm deliveries.
As soon as you realize that you are pregnant, it's important that you come and book. You come to for antenatal care. Over there, we are able to check you. We are able to do labs and be able to even know whether you are at risk of delivering a preterm baby, such that plans can be put in place. We will anticipate a preterm delivery, and plans can be put in place to care for this baby when this baby arrives. But the attitude is that some will only come to the hospital when they are about 5 or 6 weeks, 6 months into the pregnancy before they come to the hospital. So poor health-seeking attitude is one of the contributory factors to preterm deaths.
Chief Director at the Upper Wasuja Coordinating Council, Haji Pona Fati Isaka Kori, called for support for expected mothers, urging for them to be treated with dignity.
Our governments and development partners have critical roles to play. The success of this project depends on all of us. Our communities must commit to supporting expectant mothers by reducing the physical burdens they bear during pregnancy, discouraging harmful practices, and ensuring that every pregnant woman is treated with respect and dignity.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Loho.
Well, to the Ashanti region, where the Health Directorate has also confirmed 24 cases of mpox across 12 districts, with Kumasi recording the highest number. Ashanti Regional Director of Health Service, Dr. Fred Adomakoboasin, disclosed the figures in an interview with Love FM.
Ashanti region, we initially, for a long time, we didn't even record a case.
But currently, the total number of cases that we have recorded in the region is 24. 24. Which is almost about 5% of the total cases that we are talking about. You look at the districts that have been affected, we are talking about 12 of the districts, which is about 27% of the 43 districts that we have in the region. Currently, the leading district, as is implied, is Kumasi, having about 6 cases, which is about 25% of the cases that we are having. And basically, as we are discussing, we don't have any of them in admission. Okay. Our first 2 cases were really recorded in Otafo, and then that's around about 2 months ago, and they have been discharged, and they are doing well. The case fatality rate for most of the outbreaks of mpox is normally around 11%. 11%. But if you look at the current outbreak that we are dealing in the country, and then you look for the period for which we are talking about, we are looking at 1/409, and which is giving you a percentage of 0.24. You can't see 0.24 person dying, but it means that it's really, really not fatal.
We'll take a short break and return with more. You're welcome back, and we've got an interview with Cardinal Turkson coming up in some few minutes. But before we do that, Her Press, a network of women journalists in Ghana, is closing its first cohort with a summit designed to amplify women's voices in the media. Founded by the Australian government, the summit will address topical issues affecting women and host engaging discussions on 23 August 2025 at the Mixed Design Hub by the Deakin Center. The fellowship has employed 20 women journalists with hands-on experience in investigative journalism, leadership, and crafting impactful news stories. Her Press is more than a fellowship. It is a movement that encourages women journalists to unite, amplify their voices, and drive meaningful change in the media landscape. Now, joining me in the studio are Paul Denson, founder, executive director at Deakin Center, and Sarah Amele Josu, fellow Her Press Fellowship. Sarah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Elton.
And of course, you're welcome too.
Thank you, sir.
Right, so we're talking about women. I was wondering what the gentleman is doing to talk about issues regarding women in journalism.
You know, that's a surprising part, because, I mean, it's a fellowship for women, but then that's the brainchild of this gentleman right here. So, I mean, the whole idea was Paul's own, and he created everything solely for women. Yeah.
So tell us more about it.
So
I'm the founder and executive director of Deakin Center. As the name means, Deakin, taking the lead, right? So for the last 2 years, we've been researching into journalism, and we've been training journalists in the last 2 years as Deakin Institute. And we realized the lag behind of women. When we put up a call, sometimes only 20% of the women apply, right? And so we decided that with the team that we're going to create a separate arm for the women only, and support them in advocacy, bring in leadership confidence, and also finding the problems in that and be able to solve them. So for us, it's joy to bring 20 women together, even to form a community for these women to support themselves, the challenges, and all the things that goes on in the.
So is this the first?
This is the first cohort, 20 women, and we're going to institutionalize it. We're going to provide support for women. But this time around, on this Saturday, we're going to have a gathering of all women in media at one place, and remember, this is the first time in Ghana.
So, Sarah, you are an attendee.
Privileged,
of course.
Now I'm privileged to be part of the fellows of the very first session, or maiden edition of the fellowship.
But there are so many women in journalism.
Yeah.
So why 20?
So I think we had to apply. Yes, and it was shortlisted. So we are privileged to be part of that 20.
How rigorous was it?
You know, when you hear about the idea of fellowship, you think, okay, let's go and learn this journalism. So maybe how to edit stories, how to write better. That's the idea I went in with, to learn and get more. But little did I know that I was actually walking into a safe space that was going to teach me more about leadership, because the insights I've gleaned in the past 3 months, which is now culminating into the summit, it's impactful, very. And I have to say it's been transformative, because lessons on leadership, ethics of the job, investigative journalism.
Right.
We were told, I mean, it wasn't an area I wanted to venture into, but I've been told how to pitch a story when it comes to investigative journalism, how to go about it, how to play it safe and everything. And I've been exposed to a network of, let me say, a sisterhood, a safe space where we can discuss issues, you know, brainstorm and glean insight from each other.
But I've known you more in the business circle.
Absolutely.
In the show business.
Yes.
Now you want to go into investigative journalism.
No, but then, so that's the funny thing. Whatever we were taught in that investigative journalism class, it gives you that better approach when it comes to telling stories.
Right.
I know the things I have to look out for when I have to tell a story. And even in the entertainment industry, you acknowledge that, yes, there can be some sort of investigative journalism in there. So in all aspects, it's required.
Okay. So I mean, in terms of the criteria that went into selecting the 20, tell us about it.
So for funding restriction, we limited it to 20. And also because it's a piloting program, we limited to 20. But then again, we've designed a program enough to support other women. And that's why Saturday we bring in women-owned journalists, media. It's not just journalists, reporters, the photographers, the videographers, all of them are one place that, again, we're going to propel to support them. Even we have panel discussion, we have speeches from the Australian Embassy and other renowned journalists also coming into play. So for us, it's a programming model to help more journalists. We're going to, next year, going to endow it. We're going to make it sure that it continues forever and even support students, start in the classrooms, in GIJ and other places where we could be able to bring the female journalists together because sometimes the leadership does not have women. And for me, that is concerning, right? The decision makers are not majority women. You know, the women sometimes are underground, you know, and sometimes based on our research, they are the least paid as well.
So this fellowship, how long is it going to last and what really is going into it?
So the fellowship is 3 months, and we design it flexibly so that the women can participate in.
So they can still work and so be part of this.
Once they come in into the class or the community for a week, 5 days, in a month, that's it. Because most of the times we've had challenges when we ask the leadership to bring women in, the problem is, hey, I'm working. Right? I can't stop my job to come and do it. So that's why we've been able to make it flexible for the women to participate in. And again, it doesn't end there. Once they're out of the fellowship, we're looking to bring more participation, more projects to support them, even in their, and we pay them to start.
So is it residential for the period that they will have to be part of this fellowship, or they can still come to work? For example, Sarah can still come to the Joy Business office and still be part of this throughout the 3 months that this fellowship will last?
Yes. So for us, we wanted to limit the barrier. So flexibility, and then 2, some of them are mothers as well. So we provided the stipend for them to use for transportation. We provided them the food. We provided them everything that to allow them to succeed. And for us, that is the core. We have a CNN journalist who come into the class and bring in other voices into the classroom.
I was going to ask, who are the resource persons?
So we have Gabby from CNN who's coming to Ghana this week and completing the program, the class. We have many other leadership, Francisca for investigative journalism, news editors who have come to the class, speaking engagements also as well. So,
But Sarah, your own expectations?
I mean, I would say my expectations were met, and I mean, it actually went overboard because Irama Bainin, for instance, took us for our leadership classes, and you know, when you see all these books on leadership, you read it and you just leave it hanging. But she peeled certain layers that we didn't even bring to bear when we were reading. And that, for me, telling us, making us aware that leadership starts from within and how we needed to approach these things, managing and trying to, find that work and career balance. Yes, I mean, it all addressed. So my expectations were actually met. And I'm looking forward to this Saturday, yes, because we're going to have the likes of, as he said, the Australian High Commissioner, who is funding this program. She'll be there. Gabby from CNN, Genevieve Partington, Ijolaye, Portia Gabo, and so many women are also coming through to support.
All right. And obviously, you are not doing this alone. You've got support from other key partners to see this through.
Yes. So, first of all, Decan funded part of it, and the Australian Embassy the High Commissioner Benes also funded part of it. So for us, it's been encouraging that we want to continue this and make it institutional at Decan, where we're very interested in journalism and interested in African storytelling. One of the key elements which was really interesting is how we bring our archives to the classroom. So currently we have a large collection of archives from 82 to now, and how do journalists be able to have access to this to make it informative and research in terms of their lives in journalism.
All right, Sarah, finally before you leave.
About the summit, right? Yes, so I just want to implore every woman, storyteller, I wouldn't even say journalist. Once you love storytelling, please show up. If you're in the media space, please show. Even men are allowed. So Elton, I'd like to see you there on Saturday. Yes. So please, we are having it at the Mixed Design Hub inside OSU.
Okay.
10 a.m. Saturday. That's right, Saturday 23. Yeah. 10 a.m. Please show up at the Mixed Design Hub. It's going to be a whole mentorship session. There's going to be skill lab, practical advice, conversation, you name it. Just show up there.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much for coming through.
Most welcome.
Of course.
Thank you so
much. So hopefully Saturday we'll be there to listen in.
Yes.
All right. Before we go, let me bring you this exclusive interview. Cardinal Turkson, you know him. He's known for speaking truth to power. Has, in an exclusive conversation with JoyNews, addressed two pressing national issues: the menace of illegal mining and government directive for religious leaders to submit their prophecies. Now, from the human cost of Galamsey to the tension between faith and regulation, the Cardinal shares candid reflections on Ghana's moral choices in this sit-down with my colleague, Emefa Akusia-Adeti.
Thank you so much for agreeing to sit with us here on the JoyNews channel. We'll start with the recent helicopter crash, sadly, that happened on August 6th this year. Whilst the nation or the country is grieving and mourning, many have said that it is as well because of our fight against illegal mining, popularly or locally known as Galamsey. And the challenge is that if we have nipped it in the bud a long time ago, we won't have to be now going through the process of launching pockets of vehicles or tools to still fight it. My question really, His Eminence, is that how do you assess the fight of illegal mining currently in this country?
So, question then is not evaluation of this assessment, this interpretation of the event, but the issue of Galamsey mining itself. Because I may probably have an issue with the way people link the episode to, is it what? Is it that God was punishing the government for trying to control illegal mining? Is that a sense of what, of the question, or what? I don't know.
Well, the background of it is that these statesmen were on their way to the launch of one of the government's tools to fight Galamsey called Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skill in the Ashanti region. And whilst this could have happened whilst you're en route to another program, it just draws a lot of theories in people's mind to the fact that why are we still on the conversation of illegal mining? Why are we still here? We should have done better.
That we should have done better, or should have had show more stewardship and responsibility for the environment. That's clear. And in that sense, it's not an issue only for the government of Ghana. From my own office, we deal with this all the time, and we invariably, we've actually launched a program of taking us around 10 regions in the world to talk about climate resilience and concern and protection for the environment. Because from a scientific point of view and from a religious point of view, the abusive use of anything in creation, the environment and all, does not augur well for a sustainable existence on this earth. So all what we can do to kind of show concern for nature, for creation, is so very necessary, because we believe that the two are connected. The destiny of the human person and the destiny of the earth or creation are interrelated and interdependent, interlinked. There's no way we can treat creation or nature anyhowly and expect that our own lives on earth would also be successful or profitable, because we depend a lot on creation. It's so very clear. Our bodies were made, according to scriptures, out of the material of the earth. So we are earth beings, if you want. And our bodies are sustained also by products that come out of the earth, agriculture, whatever type of thing, and its waters. So they sustain our bodies. So in a very real way, we're so interconnected into real with the earth that should already drive us to, if not respect, at least protect. But the ideal thing would have been to respect this relationship and try to treat everything that exists in creation with some respect and dignity. Now, short of that, we should reckon with, see, creation lashes back every now and then. Okay, elsewhere, Miami is losing coastline because of rising sea level. West coast of the United States, the forest fires because of drought. The islands in the Pacific are going underwater. So it's so clear around us that our disregard for concern for nature and creation is leading to a whole lot of disasters which affect and impact our life. So one might simply say that we cannot abusively treat the environment without thinking about abusively treating our own lives, And this is not to talk about people of faith or religious people. Religious people praying with the Bible read in Psalm 19 how creation reveals God. The heavens proclaim the glory of God, and we human beings do not proclaim the glory of God. We abusively deal with what God has created and protected. And then we do not only pray with the elements of creation, but some actually do worship with the elements of creation. Like those churches which do with communion and baptism, you use water to baptize, you use oil for anointing, you use bread grown from the earth for Eucharist. So how can you then abusively treat what underlies your own life of worship? So it's so important that we learn to respect creation and whatever. Now, in this regard, when we have a human practice or activity like Galamsey, we've always had mining. Okay, since antiquity. The book of Job, chapter 28, speaks about mining. How people go down into the earth and stop waters and all of that to get out the treasures. It's in the Bible. Mining is not a new thing. Remember, we used to name the epochs in history based on metal. Iron Age, Copper Age, all of this. So mining is not a novel. It's not a new thing with us. We've always mined, metals and whatever from the earth. And so here in Ghana, gold has always been here. We used to call Gold Coast. And so that's also why Kwame Nkrumah, okay, blessed memory, he said, if you want to mine, go down and get it, and leave the surface for us to live on and live off. So that's what it is now. So we did have that. But it's also now being discovered that gold is not always deep in the ground. Sometimes you have it very close to the surface on the topsoil. So in so doing, which is what Galamsey does, you get rid of the vegetation, denudation, you get rid of the topsoil, that's for agriculture, only to get to this. So you get precious metal, but in the process destroy what feeds you and what nourishes you. So it's an activity which is not sustainable. And if we still need to get the metal, then let's find a sustainable way of doing this. It's not sustainable in the sense that when the companies, so with big resources, decided to mine, they would go down and get it with shafts and whatever, and they will have tail dams to wash the, whatever thing, and not spill them into rivers. So they had it all under control. Galamsey and private individuals don't have the capital to invest in all of this. So they take the cheapest way out, which just means pollution rivers, washing this in rivers, and so a whole lot of our river systems are dying. Okay, so Ankobra is gone, Pra is gone. So Pra now enters the sea. You pass by, in the past when we were growing up, you cross from Cape Coast to Takoradi, and you have shrimps to buy. It's gone. The breeding ground of all of this. So that's what it is. Therefore, an initiative like what these ministers were going to go inaugurate was going to be an attempt to organize them And probably in the organization of them, grouping them to groups, the government will be able to provide probably a tail dam for them to wash the gold and not get spilled into rivers. So I think this is a fruit of a reflection that the government did, okay, and which they were going to implement. So you have an activity that you see you cannot really easily stop because people's life or whatever depends on it. But you also recognize its downstream effect, which is destruction of water bodies and environment. And so as a government, you want to try to see how you can respect both needs. People's need for jobs or something to whatever, and at the same time, the conservation of your environment. And so what you just described about creating cooperative whatever was probably in the direction by way of finding a solution to something that you don't want to simply stop.
Absolutely.
Okay? But something that you also, whose side effect you also recognize to be deleterious or offensive or abusive of the environment. So I wouldn't find that offensive in God's plan, so as to cause an accident to happen. Neither would I find it offensive in any principle of destiny to make accident like that happen. We just need to recognize that all our travels based on technology, anytime we step into a car, we put our hands in the hands of technology. And when that is the case, we need to recognize that this was put together by humans. And human error is always a factor to reckon with whenever you deal with any type of human production machines. That's why in the tradition of the church, we bless cars. We bless instruments of transportation. We bless them so that God will protect us and the users from errors of human shortcoming and overlooking. So, I mean, an accident like that happens. My own brother died in a plane accident off the coast of Ivory Coast 25 years ago. Okay, and we got, we're going to be doing a small event in the village for him. Okay. So it's an accident that happens. I lost a brother through an air crash, and so this has also happened. What do I say? It's all because of whatever, God punishing us, or I don't know.
Do you envisage the role of the church at all in this fight against illegal mining? Do you envisage the role of the church?
So if I don't have the details over here. So I left Ghana in 2010, okay, invited to work in the Vatican. Then the Pope who invited me there is Pope Benedict XVI, who was dead and gone. But succeeding him was Pope Francis. And his first activity was care, inviting us to care for creation. In fact, his installation, the first mass he had, was on the feast of St. Joseph as the caretaker of the Holy Family, so Jesus and Mary. And the Pope used this function of Joseph as a caretaker to invite all of humanity to exercise caretaking for creation and for nature. So that was his first message to humanity on becoming a Pope. And based on that, he invited my office at that time to help draft a document whose title now is Laudato Si, Care for Our Common Home. And this whole document is based both on science and theology, on the need for us to care for creation. Okay, and we've been promoting this since 2015. It's taking me around the United Nations and several places talking about this is a very basic thing. You don't need to be religious to recognize the need to care for creation because of the interdependence and interrelationship between the two. The former Pope Benedict XVI said that in creation and life there's no neutral or independent relationship that exists. Everything is interconnected and dependable. So when we talk about ecology, it's not just about nature. When we talk about natural ecology, and that's ensuring that nature, we provide nature with a type of environment of interconnectedness of relationship that enables things to thrive. But so does a human being also have an ecology. We human beings also require a set of relationships to make our lives thrive. And so we talk about human ecology, we talk about natural ecology. The two of them need to be brought together. we cannot, dismiss natural ecology and to develop human ecology. It's not possible. Because we almost, apart from those who believe in God and, whatever type of thing, all our lives on earth are supported by creation. God did not create Adam and Eve before he created the garden and everything in the Bible. He created this before he created human person. Because there is the need for the wherewithal to support human existence.
Right.
And therefore it is important. So, in this sense, we can go on that way. See, there is a group in Osu. There is a church called the Maronites, right? The Maronites, it's a group, so when we talk about Christians, it's not just Catholic, Methodist, whatever. In the East, so in Athens, Greece and all of that, there's a group called the Orthodox churches, right? They started talking about, or reminding us about our respect for creation way before even this document I'm talking about, way before the Catholic Church started talking about it. And indeed, they call the abuse of creation as sin. They use the word sin. So sin is not what we do, but even abusive treatment of creation, they want to call a sin. So it is that anything that represents our abuse of the work of God's hand cannot be, lightly looked upon.
Thank you for such an elaborate answer, because then you didn't just give the answer saying that, of course, the church should or they should not. You give evidence to that answer. There is a conversation in Ghana. It's been a conversation that's been lingering, but now it's come to the fore, especially again because of this helicopter crash, that there's a call that religious leaders should submit their prophecies for review. What's your take?
Prophecies about what?
If there is any prophecy about...
So a prophecy about anything?
Government officials or anything that is in the domain of the government, they should submit the review, for a review.
If this is a government policy, I'm not part of, so I respect the considerations that led them to this, argument. I've not been privy to it, and I've not had the chance to, consider the factors and the elements that led to this type of thing. But as a man of religion, let me put it that way, or as a priest and whatever, I find that to be a very challenging task. Okay, I can again. Depending on how much time we have going through all of this from the beginning. But let me do it basically this way. Start traditionally, Akomfo.
Yes, Mr. Minister, I do.
Traditionally, Akomfo, when I'm using a word out, when they come, okay, and when they come, it is to come out with a prophecy. Okay, Akomfo go through whatever type of thing to come out with a message. Okay, which is supposed to have been inspired by the deity or whatever type of thing they serve, or in whose name, whatever type of thing. That's a form of prophecy they will claim. Okay, that's a form of prophecy they will claim, and it got its different abuses and different whatever. As a child growing up, I grew up in a mining town in Sutatakwa. As a child growing up, I knew of episodes where people, just to fashion credibility, would follow a person, and then they test. Then they will ask, do you see what is following you? And naturally, the person turns around and sees nothing. And then they will say, you don't have eyes, okay? You don't have eyes, so you don't see what is following you. And that already is enough to sow anxiety and fear in you. And so the natural thing is, you want to see this thing that the other guy who has eyes can see. And that's how our comfort used to attract people to whatever. And so you go to them and it's bring this and bring a chicken and bring this and bring that, whatever, to protect you, whatever type of thing. That was also a traditional form of prophecy, Eshekom. Okay? And we have borrowed that word, akomshe, Okay? Now we talk about comshare as prophecy. Removed from this traditional thing about deity or fetish or whatever type of, but there's still comshare. Okay? And then people, so God speaks to them. And indeed, this is not foreign. In scriptures, we have this given as one of the gifts, okay, of that Christ, the gift of the Holy Spirit bestowed on the church. Some will prophesy, and some would interpret prophecies. Okay, we read about this in Paul's letter to the Corinthians and Ephesians. So this is also part of Christian whatever type of thing. So we're dealing with the gift of the Holy Spirit that enables people, through which God bestows on humans an aspect of his divine knowledge about things happening, things in the future and all of that. So people do that to promote. If you were to look at Romans and whatever, it's to promote the church. It's gift given by the Holy Spirit to promote the church and all of that. And this type of gift is also sometimes to warn or to educate or whatever type of whatever. This, however, I would say, is not to be confused with premonition. There's another thing in human life called premonition. People have this gift of premonition. I've known my priesthood. I've dealt with people who have the gift of premonition. They see something happening, about to happen, but are worried sometimes because in most cases they're not able to stop it from happening. They see it just before it happens, but are not in a position to stop it. And that worries them. And in having to deal with people with that kind of thing, then the thing I ask them to do, when that is the case, when God opens your eyes to see whatever, pray first. Put it to prayer. God is merciful. He's shown this to you. It just means that he knows you can do something. And the first thing you can do is intercede. Intercede with God about whatever you see happening. The last case that I heard of this was when I was a staff in Emisano or whatever. There was a lady in that town who had this gift of premonition. He'd gone to Elmina for shopping, and a colleague from the same village got into a taxi. And the moment the taxi took off, she saw the taxi in a ditch. Okay? The taxi had taken off. There was no way she could stop the taxi. So she gets in the second taxi and goes and then finds the taxi in the ditch. And that kind of thing bothered her, that you see something evil coming, but you're not able to stop and to deal with it. That's why my suggestion to her was pray. At least you can pray. Pray about it, ask God, exercise your power of intercession.
So you envisage this call quite a challenging one because of the nuances that come with this.
So I hope this is not, I should not say whatever, but how is an office going to monitor and discern prophecies? If prophecies are not just, the Christian whatever, if you include this under the traditional whatever, they also forms of prophecies. And then you include those who are not really prophecies, but the gift of premonition. This is a gift which is different from prophecy. Okay, premonition is a natural gift that a lot of people have an exercise. They don't refer to it as prophecy, but it's a gift that I have. In my own small case, okay, in my office room, windows and everything locked, air conditioning, everything on. Then sometime I would see a flying insect from nowhere. Invariably, shortly thereafter, I will have a news of a death. What is that? So what can I do? I won't call this prophecy, but there are so very many events related to this, to the knowledge about the future. It comes as a prophecy, it comes as a premonition, it comes in so very many different forms. Now, when you say you've created an office with people to manage this, the advantage is that it just saves that knowledge from public, whatever, social media and all the interpretation, everything that it can. So you canalize this, you seek to channel this type of thing in a way that, can reduce its impact or effect on whatever type of thing. So in that sense, that's very valid. But if this office then has the additional task of determining which is true and which is not true, which is valid, which is not valid, then that's a tough one.
Okay.
That'll be a tough one to.
Okay.
You know?
My final question, maybe, Your Eminence, is that if I look to Upper East, I'd have Boko in my mind. Then if I went to OT region, I'd have Nkwanta. And every now and then, we get these issues of conflict and all. I should start my question with some African countries. We're observing some small pockets of unrest. But let's bring it home, over here in our country ourselves. Do you envisage an end to the Boko conflict?
It should be. The actors are all human. The actors are all finite beings. So finite beings means that they have a beginning, they have an end. Okay, so theoretically, it should be possible to envisage an end. When an act of an event or whatever is finite, has a beginning and end, then you should probably then anticipate. Of course, this is whatever, but then you have to recognize also with tradition. People passing on experiences and things that go on. And so, yes, people may die, but then depends on what they've communicated to those who come after them, so who perpetuate what should otherwise be a finite and whatever type of thing. The issue about Boko you address, as well as that of Nkwanta, we dealt with already when, in the when the National Peace Council was first instituted in this country, which I said with religious leaders, Otebi was a member, Bishop Lodonu Ofo was a member, somebody representing the chief imam, Mwabi Wahab Adam was a member, professors from the university. So there was a group who had to deal with that issue in Boko. And we used to go there several times to meet whatever type of thing. What was the issue? Everybody who presented side, the Kusasis claimed they lived there, whatever type of thing. The Mampusis then are considered those who arrived later. But they arrived later with the chieftaincy system. Which the Kusasis probably as of did not quite develop, but times have changed and they say we now have developed it and we have a chieftaincy that needs to be respected. And so if the arguments are the same as we used to hear in those days, then it's one claiming you have never had a tradition of this, and now you claim you have the tradition of this. And they only say, yeah, if we didn't have it, we are the original ones, and now we do have it. So it's a question of probably recognizing and accepting. In itself, I think it's something, with a little bit of give and take, which is what every dialogue calls for, you can probably settle this. Unless people claim an absolute, a certain form of absolutism in this form of dialogue, it's either all or nothing. With either all or nothing, you don't make any breakthrough through anything. Otherwise, the moment you decide to get into negotiation or dialogue about anything, you accept, okay, to respect the other person's view, and so solution comes about compromises and all of that and that. To enter into anything like that with absolute position, strength, whatever type of thing, and resort to power or violence to enforce whatever thing, is a sad thing. Be recognizing that the moment you cause harm to another, you create a basis for revenge. Okay, and then becomes a give and take and tit for tat, and so it perpetuates something which could have been settled, whatever. So that's what the Nkwanta case is also the same. Yeah. Over land. Okay, that's also whatever type of thing. So, I mean, so there's still the National Peace Council. I would encourage them to, to do whatever type of thing. If we can be of help, we're always available. But some of these things, we also developing our own thoughts and ideas about how we can be of help. Okay. And when the proper time comes, I think we'll make them public.
Okay. Okay. In wrapping my interview with you, Ibagana, Abis Bandes Pa.
It's when I mean to be room. So it's when I mean to be easily. But even them crown also a difficult. And in the day, say, yeah, both for where African markets will be a could be crappy, be Kako crappy, be whatever. Yeah, I pay being be very but on 9 days you can see, and on your some cassette. Baby could be a baby Others some who has all the woods are what's in kum.
Yeah.
See,
be okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. In this very difficult time, I'd like you to share a word to us as a country.
Yeah. So I think every year I come home in August for a short vacation. I try to do 3 visits since I've been in Rome this past 15 years. So I come for Christmas, I come for Easter, to help some village celebrate, this night religious feast. So I go to a village without a priest and I help them. But for August, I come for a short vacation. I never did expect to come into Ghana for vacation under this cloud of sadness and grief and, accident and disaster like that. Incidentally, since I came, I've not only heard about this chopper, helicopter crash, but also school bus and whatever, a lot of disasters. Interesting was that at the airport in Amsterdam, because I was coming from the United States, from Cincinnati, at the airport in Amsterdam, I met a couple of Ghanaians who were, so we chatted at the airport, then we boarded the plane. As soon as the plane took off, one of them came to me with his mobile phone to show me news about this helicopter crash. Okay, this was Wednesday, I think. So news of this crash. And so what could you do? Helicopter has crashed, and you are sitting in the plane yourself. How can you be feeling? No, so that's what the thing was. But again, for me, it's terrifying. But it's again something because I travel a lot, and I lost a younger brother also in a flight. Okay, in whose memory we're now coming to do a small memorial, whatever, dedicate a small memorial thing. So what is it? Accidents will happen. On a connecting trip from Kigali to Cincinnati through Amsterdam, we waited on the tarmac in Entebbe for 8 hours because they discovered a faulty braking system in the KLM flight before we took off. Yeah. It was better to have recognized that on the ground than in the air. So the brakes and the hydraulics were faulty, and they had to fix that before. So we took off when we should be landing in Amsterdam. Right. So that meant I lost a connection and I lost whatever, but it was better to get a safe there. So coming to Ghana, grieving and living under this shadow of sorrow and distress and all of that, not only for the government because it's part of its team was involved in this, but also for the families who had lost their dear ones, which I very much understand because I'm grieving, I have an experience of this. So it's just to extend to all of them our sincerest and heartiest condolences. And because of what I do, I won't say professionally, but on a daily scale, to commit them to prayer. Prayer for their own souls and prayer for the families who grieve the loss of all of this. To pray that God himself consoles them, grant them solace for everything, and to pray for this government that despite its loss, it finds a way of finding a replacement for them, and then not be discouraged by the loss, but still help keep aloft the matters and affairs of the state. So we commit all of this into the hands of God. Ask God to bless the families, bless the country, and bless all of us in our grief and sorrow, and sustain us with the faith that we all have in God, who is merciful and gracious.
Thank you so much, Your Eminence, for sitting with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are welcome.